Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of the Van Buren Variety Show. As you know, I am Bob Van Buren, your host. I host this show once a week, every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Central Time. That is 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So glad you're here. Glad for all the regulars that I see in chat and is logging in right now. Thank you so much for your support. But I don't want to ignore the newcomers that are logging in, as I see. Welcome. And if you're wondering what the show is all about, well, variety. It's exactly what you think it is. I've had musicians on the show. I've had artists on the show. I've had authors on the show. Military personnel. I've even had people from the paranormal on this show. So you never know what you're going to get. Hence the word variety. If you want to know more the topics I talk about, well, this background should tell you anything and everything in the world can be covered on this show. So glad you're here. And for those newcomers, if you like what you see tonight, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That'd really make me feel good. And if you like tonight's guest, and you like her expertise and her talk, make sure you hit that like button. And for those of you that are not watching this live, if you're watching this days, weeks, or months down the road, you can still leave a comment, a question in the comments, and I'll make sure that our guest tonight sees it. And I'll forward that over to her. So, again, welcome to another great episode of Van Buren Variety. And got an interesting topic and a guest as always. So, welcome, everybody. Hope you've all had a great week so far. Mine's going pretty good. Busy, back to work. Had a storm come through, last week, but we got through it, thank goodness. But I really feel sorry for the people that had some really bad tornadoes and bad weather in recent days. So prayers for them, prayers for a speedy recovery as well. I was going through some old stuff the other day, and I found this that I'd like to share with y'all. Now, my late grandfather has passed away. He's passed away more than 30 years ago, but I did inherit one of his items after he passed away that my grandmother gave me. And it's still a collector's item for me today. There's no way I'll part with it, but this is my grandfather's old fishing tackle box called Old Pal. Oh, he's had this for more than 40 years. And so I got a much bigger tackle box at home, but this is my grandfather's. I still keep it. And it has sentimental value, of course. So and it's metal. Mine's kind of plastic. So they made them really, really good back then. It's small, but it'll take care of the business if you want to catch some good fish. So wanted to share that with you. And again, we all have things that we've inherited from our family. And this is from my late grandfather. And it reminds me of him when I take it out every time to go hit the lake. So that definitely comes with me on my fishing trips. We all have good things that we've inherited from our ancestors, haven't we? But that's one of mine. Well, let me talk about tonight's guest and tonight's topic. My guest tonight wears many hats. No pun intended. Okay. There's your dad joke for tonight. But she is a composer. She is a sound designer. She is a visual artist and a collaborator. Wow. She stays really busy, it sounds like. So let's put her on and she'll tell you more about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Ashley Weckesser to the show. Ashley, welcome to the Van Buren Variety Show.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about your bio here. It says that you are a composer, sound designer, a visual artist, and a collaborator. Let's just go through each one. Tell us about your composing.
My composing, that's definitely my primary interest, and that's actually what I went to school for. I composed a variety of music.
I like variety.
Yes, you do.
Sorry. Go ahead.
The goal for me is to compose music for film and for video games, and so that can take on many different styles of genre and textures.
Interesting. Okay. And how about sound designer?
Sound designer, that kind of came along with video games. I've worked on a few video game projects, and I was the only audio person on the team. And honestly, I love sound. I love music. Anything that makes a noise, I'm all for it. And so I find that sound design is kind of a natural consequence of being a composer. And so I'm always recording weird sounds or trying to make weird sounds to record for putting in video games.
Hey, that's okay. I was going to say, you mentioned video games. You mean like sounds in video games? Like, I mean, for example, somebody walking or somebody shooting, or just what kind of sounds have you done?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. I'm working on a project with some friends, and to to explain this video game is quite difficult. It's a video game that takes place in a Western world, and the world is made of cheese. So some of the sounds so some of the sounds I've been trying to make is I'm trying to emulate what cheese sounds like. Like, what does cheese sound like? Like,
depends on if you step on it, or you chewing it. What are you doing?
All the above.
Well, that's interesting. And you're a visual artist. Now, that's something I respect. And I respect it because I told you even before the show, I am not artistically declined. I mean, I can't really draw a stick figure. So maybe I'm on the wrong path here. So tell us about it. What does it take to be a visual artist?
I think it takes a fearless mind. I like to explore the question of what if. And so if I see something, I'm like, oh, what if that tree was purple instead of green, or just stuff like that. And then being able to have the tools and abilities to create what you imagine. Like, I have a very imaginative mind, and so it's nice that I'm able to recreate some of that now. And so people can kind of see what's going on in there.
Well, you have to have a creative mind to come up with some of this. I guess what I'm looking for is an imagination.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last one is called Collaborator. Tell us about what do you collaborate on?
Everything I can.
Basically, you got your hands in everything, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. Somebody will come up to me, hey, I'm thinking about working on this project, and I need X, Y, and Z. Are you willing to do this? I'm like, yep, sign me up. Like, let's go. And I think it's amazing working with other artists because I find people very inspiring, and it's amazing to see people in their fields, and like when they're an expert at something, it's just their passion and their energy is just very contagious, and I love it.
So your hand's always up. I'll help.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you volunteer. See, I'm just the opposite. I don't volunteer. I get voluntold. Okay, you are going to help me. That was a word that my boss at a former company said. Okay, if nobody volunteers, you're going to get voluntold. And so I would normally get voluntold. So
nice, you're the go-to.
Well, as you know, actually, we have a live audience watching this tonight for the live show. We've already had some positive comments about you. Let's bring some stuff up here. Bigfoot Truth says, what a beautiful person Ashley is. Such a nice guest. I love the artistic side of humanity.
Oh,
thank you very much. And you said that you're a composer, right? You write music.
Correct.
Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, we will talk about that. We will have some of Ashley's work here tonight, and actually to show you on this show, as well as some of her artistic creations that she's got videos. So stay tuned for that. You also have a request maybe from Texas Front Porch. He says, maybe I could get her to compose a Texas Front Porch. Oh no, we just lost Ashley. Okay, I did not sign her off, I promise. Ashley, if you're watching this, come back on. She was kind of breaking up a little bit right there. So, well, what do you do when it's a live show? So, what I'll do is while she's logging back in, ladies and gentlemen, I will put her website out here for you. And I think she just logged back in. So, let's see if I can get her back in here. We lost you, Ashley. What happened?
I have no idea.
You just clicked off? I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, a screen popped up and it said, we had a problem. Don't worry, it's not your fault. I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay. Talk about, I almost said, okay, I'll just carry the show. So, we'll get into your website here in a minute. That's where we're going to show some videos of yours and some of your other work. But Tex, whom I know very, very well, like a brother to me, Texas Front Porch said, maybe I could get her to compose a Texas Front Porch theme song. Think you could do that?
Absolutely. Yes, I'm here.
So Tex and everybody else that's interested in Ashley's work, stay tuned because I'll have her website up. In fact, why don't we just do that right now? Let me display this for everybody. And those of you that are listening this on audio, not on video, it is www.aweckesser.com. That's www.aweckesser.com. So, Ashley, this is your website, and it's loaded full of information. So, we'll just tell our audience, if people click on your website here, what all will they see there?
They're going to see magic.
Magic. Oh, we love magic. Okay. Tell us about it. We're excited.
Yeah, I hope to be able to create an experience of something that inspires. So I hope that you see things that you've never seen before, heard things that inspire you, and maybe you've never heard before as well.
That's awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, check it out. But I am going to be displaying some of Ashley's work tonight. But now you just published something here a while back, and I'm going to bring this on the screen. You can kind of tell our audience more about this. It's called Undying. Tell us about this work. Now, this is not a novel, right? This is work? I mean, this is your music work?
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, I have to give a shout out to one of my friends, Ian.
Sure.
I commissioned him to do the cover art for this album. I'm sorry, for this single release, and so he's just a fantastic artist. So, but yeah, so Undying is a single that I created. I was trying to mimic a lot of styles that I've heard from composers who compose very cinematic heavy scores, so like very intense moments in movies or for even trailers.
Sure.
And so basically this is kind of an exploration, and I've just released it as a single. So
that's the name of the song or the work, Undying. Oh, wow.
Yeah, kind of gives it that epic precursor to what you'll hear when you listen to it.
Oh, man. That sounds interesting already. So is this out now, or is this about to be published, or is it already available?
It is already available. Yeah, if you search on your basic streaming platforms, so like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, you'll be able to find it. As well as I've created an animation of this image, just a very simple animation on my channel on YouTube, if you like watching pictures move. So
perfect. Okay. And I mean, you've written so many pieces. So you talked about that, but let's talk about this one too. This is another work, but this has many works in here. It says Piano Works Volume 1. This has many many of the musical pieces that you've written, correct?
Yeah, all the piano pieces I've written. I tend to navigate towards piano when I write music, so piano is just near and dear to my heart, and I love playing it. But yeah, so this has, I think, 6 or 7 songs in it, of varying degrees of difficulty of piano music, and yeah.
Wow, and this is available too for purchase?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I told you at the beginning of this, she's very artistically inclined. She's got so many things out there that she's done, and so I cannot do a show without showing some of the things that she's done. And so let me just kind of give you an idea of kind of what she's done. And this is the one that I told you, it's called Flower Face. And it's a very short video. It's on her website, and we'll show it, and then she can kind of tell us about it and what her inspiration was. So let's see if Bob can do this without screwing it up. So let's present. So let me see if I can get this done. And I think I've got it. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Okay. So tell us, Ashley. I mean, I want to hear all about it. Tell us about the inspiration for the music that we heard behind it, and that I assume that you wrote, and that the video itself. What was your inspiration on that as well? Tell us about audio and video.
Yeah. So I guess with the audio first, I was commissioned by, I think it was the Alberta Arts Council. I can't remember. It was a few years back, but they were doing a virtual tour of a museum, and they asked me to write a piece of music that kind of helped with the tour, but didn't take over the tour. And what they did is that they sent me 5 or 6 samples of the art that would be found within that tour.
Okay.
And basically that was my visual inspiration of that song, essentially. It was trying to create something that kind of transported the viewer and kind of enlisted this feeling of awe in them and kind of expanding their mind a little bit. And like I had not thought about the flower face portion of things yet, the visual. And then one day I was doing a photo shoot because I just randomly woke up with the idea like, oh, what if I glued dried flower petals to my roommate's face? What would that look like? And
it works.
Actually, yeah, it really does. And like this video that you see is actually at the end of the photo shoot. I told her, I'm like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to stare at the camera. You're going to try to daydream while you do this so she could look kind of lost in her face.
Sure.
And you're going to take the petals off your face. And so actually what the video is just reversed. So it looks like she's putting the petals on her face in the exact positions, but she's actually just taking the petals off. And I just thought to combine the two together, and they both work together very well. So I'm like, yeah, I really like this.
You did a very, very good job. And the music just is perfect for it. So, wow, to write music, wow. I mean, that takes a lot of talent. To come up, come up with the right, I would say, not just to write the music, but the right tone, depending on what you're writing about, the song about, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find that when I'm writing music, the most important thing for me is emotion, because I feel like music is essential for amplifying messages within a story. And so if I have my story, I find that the story is useless without emotion. I find that, I guess not useless, it can still be entertaining, but it's not nearly as impactful if it doesn't have the right emotions, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. We got a comment from the audience again. It says, talking about the video we just saw, this music reminds me of these Christmas cards that are electronic by Jackie Lawson that my mom sent me every year. It was pleasant, wasn't it?
Yes. Makes me think of snow globes.
That's right, yeah. On your website, you've got some other things. I'll just read some of the things that's on here. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, you can look at this yourself. That I'll post that website again. One's called like Desert Terror. One's When Nesting Bundle. Did you create the music on each one of these?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I've not seen the one that says When, but it's got a snow scene, ladies and gentlemen. And so I'd like to share that with y'all. That looks really interesting. So let's see what a good snow scene. Let's see how Ashley interpreted. Now wait a minute. Let me go back. I was going to say, how did Ashley interpret a snow scene? But let me ask you, on most of your work, Ashley, do you create the music and you find a video to match it, or is the video created first and then you try to create music to match the video? What order does it go?
More often than not, I'm the one who sent the video, and so audio is kind of the post. Yeah, so audio is kind of the post-production side of things. There is the one collaboration I've done where music and the production itself were happening at the same time, which was really cool.
Interesting. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to look at this video called When, and we're going to see the beautiful music that's behind it. So let me put us back to Ashley's website, and we'll watch it from there.
did we forget?
Forget what? We forgot.
We're lost. We forgot.
Forget what? We forgot.
We forgot. Stars. Connections between paths connected. Trees connected. In the ground. Rivers. Water connected. Rivers. Water flowing. Connecting.
Well, I could stare at that for hours, man. If I looked at that long enough and hear that relaxing music, I think I would be. I feel like it, but for a while there, you took me because I was starting to feel kind of cold there for a second. Well, and you wrote the score on that. Is that your voice in the background too that we heard?
No, so that's actually not my voice. This is actually an interesting piece that you've chosen. So the words is actually based off a poem called "When" by Ren Bryan. And this project was a collaboration between me and a couple of other artists who are in Whitehorse in the territories in Yukon.
Oh, okay.
And
Yukon, that's where it's at.
Yeah, and so this was a part of, I guess it was kind of like a radio show to bring awareness to nature movements that were happening in that area. And so, so this is actually a small snippet of a longer piece just for copyright purposes. But
sure, obviously.
it was a really interesting movement.
Okay, I got a couple of questions for you on that note. Number one, how long have you been writing music? And number two, what got you interested in writing compositions?
So I've been writing music formally for about 6 years. I started when I learned how to write music, which was my first year at the University of Alberta.
Wow.
So that was my first formal training in music. So prior to that, I've always loved music. Growing up, I never thought I would be a composer at all. I actually had thought that I was going to be an engineer or a neuroscientist because I had geared all my studies towards that. Yeah, and I was one of those younger kids that, the parents forced them to take music lessons. So I had like 1 year of piano lessons. But
no choice, right? No choice.
Yeah, exactly. So because I didn't take that seriously, I couldn't read music very well. And also I couldn't play it by ear, but I wanted to sound cool on the piano. So as long as I could remember, I was always composing on the piano just so I would sound cool and, could show off to my parents and their friends.
Sure.
So yeah, and then I was in Europe just after I graduated high school, and I was getting ready for engineering and everything, and like it didn't quite feel right. The engineering, it just didn't settle with me. And then in Paris, like there's street performers everywhere. Like there's music everywhere. Like it's just
in Paris. Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, like the culture's just so rich and beautiful there, and like I just fallen in love with the music. And then one day I thought to myself, I was thinking about my career, and then I had the thought, why don't I study music composition? And then I just totally dropped everything and just went to the U of A and took my first formal training of music, and I have not regretted it since. It's been amazing.
It sounds like it's been a very, very, very rewarding career for you.
Yes.
Now, you said
definitely.
you play piano. Do you play other instruments as well?
Yeah, I like to play all the instruments. Luckily for me, I've been exposed to a lot of instruments, and so you can kind of figure out how an instrument works if you know what family it's a part of. And so like I'll play piano, guitar, strings. Not very good at
Oh,
cello.
wow.
I'm actually, it sounds like I'm killing a bird when I play cello, but I mean that has its uses. That has its uses. But yeah, I play all sorts of instruments, and I make up my own instruments too if I need a specific sound. So
That is great. Now, we talked earlier about your work. I'm going to bring this one up, your latest work. And you said that is actually available for purchase now. You can find it. So if somebody's like interested, either buying, this or your other works, but especially your latest work, where would you suggest they go to purchase it, your music?
if you wish to purchase it, you can go to iTunes, because I know that's where you can still purchase music. My distributor definitely
iTunes.
goes.
Okay.
Yeah, my distributor goes through a lot of streaming platforms. I think you might be able to find it on Amazon as well. I'm not too certain about that.
And you go by your name, Ashley Weckesser, correct?
Yeah, my artist name, if you search up a.weckesser, then you'll be able to find everything I've done.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, go to iTunes and look up initial A, and Weckesser, Weckesser, and you're going to find some compositions I know you're going to love. And so that's great. So they can get your music, but do you also sell the sheet music, or you just sell the music that you play?
Yeah, I also sell the sheet music. You can find that on my website.
Okay. And then on your website as well, I'm looking through, she's got all kinds of great information out here, ladies and gentlemen. Is there anything else on your website that we can maybe display that you'd like it to share with on the show? I know it's a hard decision. We've got all the time in the world. So can you think of anything at the top of your head that we haven't shown or we haven't talked about, or that you'd like to show here on the show?
Yeah, I can actually.
Sure.
On the music and sound design page, there are 2 teaser trailers for the video game I'm working on, the Cheese Western. And I think
I see it.
Yeah, I feel like those might be fun to show. Those, I did the music and sound design, and for those sound effects, those are handmade. Like I learned how to make the breaking glass sound effect, or like all these other things. So yeah, you can choose whatever one you want.
We definitely have to share that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at Ashley's creation here. Is this called the Tyromancy? Is that what it is?
Yep.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is some more Ashley's work. Looking forward to it. I have not seen it myself, but we are definitely going to share this now. And again, Ashley, I appreciate you letting me and my audience see this, because it has been a very enjoyable experience to see kind of what you've done. And so let's go ahead and get this on the screen, and we will play it. Oh man, that was awesome. Well, you did find all the sound effects for that, didn't you?
I did. It always brings a smile to my face, because that fight scene. Do you mind if I paint a picture for you for a moment?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm in this very small room. Like my music studio is my bedroom. And so I had 3 other roommates at the time, and they had a couple of friends over while I was working on these sound effects. And so I was thinking about the fight scene. I'm like, how am I going to do this? Like, this is a lot of sound that you need to add in here with like all these people fist fighting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I go downstairs to my friends and I ask them, hey, do you want to be part of an experimental project? And they know what I do, and like I've asked them this a few times. They're like, oh yeah, heck yeah. They come to my room, and I had a bunch of weapons, or like basically wooden spoons or spatulas and pillows all laid out. I'm
Makeshift
like, hey,
stuff,
choose...
right?
Yeah. I was like, choose one shield and one weapon of choice. And so they all did, and they're like, what is going to happen here? And I like set my microphone up right nice and high in the middle of the room. And I said, for 1 minute, you're going to go, it's going to be warfare. Like, you're going to attack each other, but like the thing is you have to sound like Western bandits when you attack each other.
But that was interesting.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny, and it was just the perfect sounds. It was a great time. It was so good.
So that their fight gave you inspiration, basically.
Yeah, when you listen to that teaser trailer with that fight scene, those are my roommates hitting each other with wooden spoons. That's what those sounds are.
That was the real deal.
That was the real deal. That's exactly what it was.
I see. That's very creative. You know, they gave you the inspiration.
Yes.
I got a question from the audience. Let's see if you can answer this question. Texas Front Porch. Tex is asking, ballpark, how much does she charge to compose? Do you take special orders, and do you charge? I mean, what are your rates if somebody wants you to compose a certain composition?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's actually one I've been thinking about a lot recently. It's hard to say off the spot because I'm not too sure what the nature of the project is, but things that I consider when figuring out the rate is the length of the project, so how many seconds of audio you want, and then the complexity of the project, because both those things will tie into my personal time.
Okay. And just from a personal note to Tex, I do have Ashley's email address, so I'll forward that over to you, and y'all can talk and see what y'all can come up with together.
Nice.
All right. And then your video earlier, everyone loved it. In fact, someone made the comment, bring on the cheese.
Yes.
And then you said there's another one here that you said you would like to share. And wasn't that the Desert Terror? Mm-hmm. That you did that one as well?
Yeah, so that's for the same video game. We to just take a break from the creating of the game, we decided to just play around with some teaser trailers, and so these two trailers are the result of that.
Okay, well, we want to see it, so let's bring this on. Because I mean, I'm mesmerized by this. So here we go. Wow, that one was really good. Now, I know what you meant earlier about what does cheese sound like. You had to think about that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
How long, like, for example, the one we just saw and even the one that was before that, how long does this normally take you to put together?
Oh, hours. There's so many layers.
I was going to say weeks, but you said hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if I have to give a rough estimate, for the one that we just watched, I think that took me about music and sound effects combined. I want to say for sure a minimum of 24 hours, I would say.
Wow. That would have taken me 24 years. Like I said, I'm just not artistically inclined, and I admire people that are. And so, yeah, you're doing an awesome job, Ashley. In fact, let me, again, post your website up here for people that just tuned in. And so let me display that. For those of you that's listening to this on audio, it is www.awekesser.com. That's www.aweckesser.com. Is there a way that people, when they log onto your website, Ashley, can they contact you? Can they send you like an email, or do you have other social media that they can, follow you on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a contact page, and so if you fill out the form on there, it will send me an email. I also have links to my social media, Instagram, and I have a Facebook page as well.
Is it under Ashley Weckesser, or is it under just A Weckesser again?
Oh, good question. It's a.Weckesser for Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm more...
Wait, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm more likely to respond through email because that's just what I check most often. So that's through my website, through the contact page is definitely the best method to get a hold of me. Okay.
Well, we talked about your recent work that was published, and I'll show this again. So it's called Undying, but and we definitely want to wish you all the success and the sales on this. Do you have any works in progress that you're either thinking about or maybe is not yet published? Is there any projects down the road that we'll see from you?
Yeah, definitely. I to a fault have too many projects on the go all the time.
I didn't think there was any such thing. There is?
Apparently. So I'm currently, the priority project for me right now is that I'm currently working on a song for two of my friends. They are getting married in May, and so I'm writing a wedding song for them. It'll be the first dance. So hopefully they like it, and hopefully they know how to waltz.
Waltz, you said? You said waltz?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Wow. So you'll be writing like a little composition for them then?
Correct. Yeah, and I'm trying to tell the story of their courtship in their own wedding song, just to make it a little bit special for them. And I know them both quite well, so it's... Yeah, I put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm like, this has to be perfect. This is their wedding song.
Mm-hmm. Well, you never know, on YouTube, you never know who's watching these shows. I mean, they may be watching live. They may see this days, weeks, months, maybe a year from now. So let me just ask you, you never know, what if some big-time Hollywood producer sees your work and wants you to do a movie? Would you be, or even just a short film, would you be inclined to do that?
Oh, I would drop everything and I would absolutely go into that head first. Absolutely.
Give John Williams a run for his money, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Wow. Is there a specific type of music? I mean, you probably do all genres, but is there one that you're more partial to? And what I mean by that is maybe a composition that's for like a romantic film or a terror film or a mystery or drama. So do you have a type of composition that you're more comfortable with?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because like when you first started that question, I was like, oh yeah, soundtrack music, but then I realized how different all the soundtracks are. I really enjoy composing in the minor key, so I really like moody, emotional pieces, and so maybe the romantic, sad scenes or the more serious ones, I think, or I'm more comfortable with. But like what we just saw with Tyromancy, for example, like the super lively Western stuff, like that was also like that was a lot of fun as well. So it's really hard for me to actually choose what genre I like. I can tell you what I don't like, though.
Tell us, if you don't mind sharing. If you don't mind sharing, let me get. Can I guess? Can I guess what it is?
Yeah. Guess.
Probably terror. I can't imagine you doing a horror film. Would that be right or no? I would be able to do it, but yeah, I would definitely be traumatized trying to do it. Like I would have to watch the scene
over and over again of someone getting murdered. Be like, I
Yeah.
can't.
Freddy Krueger, you know?
Yeah. 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 Basically any song with lyrics in it, I really struggle with. For some reason, there's
Oh.
something about the voice when it's paired with words and not just treated as as you would with an instrument, that like for some reason there's something in my head I just can't quite get over that stumbling block yet. I've forced myself to write lyrical based compositions, but it's very, very uncomfortable.
Well, you know, there's been some people, though, actually, that's written like a composition, an instrumental composition. But then later on, an artist will come back, you know, either quote unquote sample or you get licensed, and they'll make lyrics to the song. So maybe you'll write something, but maybe later on a vocal artist will say, you know what, I can write lyrics to that song.
I hope that's the case for me. Don't put me in charge of lyrics.
Oh, that's great. So let me ask you this. Now, you know, like I said, you never know who's watching this. There might be somebody tonight or later on will watch this, and maybe they've got a knack of writing music. They can read music, and they're interested, but maybe they've got something just laying aside. They don't know what to do with it. What would you suggest to like an up-and-coming songwriter or someone who can write music and they don't know what to do with it? What would you suggest where they go?
Start sharing it. If that's your
Sure.
goal and you want to share, just start sharing it with friends and family, and you can easily make a post with it as well. You can also, there's a lot of distributors out there for, like, anybody can really get their music on streaming platforms. It's very easy to get into that, and so I would say just bite the bullet, even if you don't feel quite ready for it, and just put it out there. You have to just be able to detach yourself a little bit from the work, in the sense that you'll be able to actually share it and not keep it hidden in your closet forever.
Exactly. And plus, you know, you give it, like, and I agree with you. If you share it with your family and your friends first, you know, they won't be so brutal in case it's
Yes.
not that good, right? You know, like say, well, you know what? Maybe you can try it again. You know, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Like, oh, that was nice, sweetie.
They'll be honest, but not brutally honest. Like you would probably
Yes.
get online. You know.
Yeah, it's very safe with family and friends for the most part.
Okay. Have you got any kind of maybe? Have you thought about doing any like competitions or any type of work like that? You know, like I mean, for lack of a better word, a talent show, just to kind of show off your work, or a competition. Have you thought about that, or have you done anything like that?
Yeah, I've actually submitted to many competitions and have failed.
Oh,
like all of
no.
them. I did, however, submit one of my animated scores to the Toronto Film Festival, and it actually made it
Really?
into the Toronto Film Festival, which was really exciting because it was music. It was animated sheet music, but it could also be considered a short film. So so that was exciting. That was probably the only success I've had so far.
But you know what? At least you know what I've always heard. As long as you get your name out there,
Exactly.
don't give up. Even if you don't get chosen, you don't win, whatever. As long as you keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
I was an artist, a pop artist that I knew many years ago. That they were interviewing her, and they're talking about her success, and how did you do it? But she admitted that before she made it big, she was rejected dozens of times, and there was times that she just wanted to lose face and just say, you know what, I'm done. But it's called perseverance, as I'm sure you know all about that too.
Oh yeah, and like the cool thing about that too is, people are still seeing your stuff when you submit it to competitions. It maybe just doesn't meet exactly the criteria that they have set, but it's you still have that chance to make an impression in their mind, and maybe later down the road they'll be like, oh, I remember this one person submitted to this competition, and maybe they'd be good for this kind of thing. That's kind of what I hold on to in the face of many rejections.
Yeah, I mean, you never know who you never know who will come across that. Again,
Yeah.
you may not have what they want now, but that doesn't mean that somebody down the road is going to see or hear your work and like, okay, that might work with what I'm working on.
Exactly. Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, this video game that you worked on with the cheese, remember it said it had a teaser at the very end, coming soon, someday, you know? So there's no definitive date on that. Now I'm interested in playing the cheese game.
Yeah, we've been, actually, to give you a bit of perspective, we've been working on this for 3 years now because we're all doing it as a hobby. So, we all have our full-time jobs during the day, and we're all artists as well. So our various other projects, and so it's a very slow and steady progress, but it will be released someday. We will have it out there.
Looking forward to it. Also, on your music, like I said, I took music many years ago in school. I won't say how many years ago that was. So, did you have, when you first started out, I always had a problem reading music. I know what a quarter note is and the clef and all that. So, did you have trouble with that, or did you just pick it up right off the bat when you started training?
I definitely struggled. Music theory, I love music theory, but man, it was difficult because basically you're being taught how to read and write a different language in such a short, condensed period of time. So it was a lot of work, but yeah, it was a struggle.
Okay,
but
so not just me then.
Yeah. You're not alone. You're not alone.
And then I don't think I showed the first two works. I don't think I showed this one. Now, is this another musical? Is this one musical composition, or is this several in this particular book?
So this is a song cycle.
Song cycle. Okay.
So remember how I told you that I tried to force myself to write lyrics?
Yes. We're back to that now. Okay.
So one of my good friends, and she was my roommate at the time as well, she was majoring in vocal performance, and she's a soprano. And so part of their finals, like in order to graduate from a bachelor's of performance, she had to perform for an hour on stage. It was for her recital. And so I told her, an hour all by herself on stage. I mean, with an accompanist as well. Yeah, like, I could never do that. I can't sing. And so I told her, I'm like, I'm going to write you a song cycle for your recital. So what a song cycle is basically just a grouping of songs that go together to tell an overarching story. You can sing the songs individually by themselves, but they're meant to be sung one after the other. And so Tout ce qu'il faut is a song cycle of 3 songs I had written, and they're in French. And I was kind of a meanie, I guess, to my friend, because I asked her what her range was, her voice range, and then I exploited it. So I had her singing really low notes and also really high notes and a lot of really crazy stuff in there. And
up and down.
Yeah. And like sometimes I call her a little bit of a diva. Like she likes to act when she's on stage. Like she's very good at expressing herself. And so I also pushed that to an extreme. And I told her, like, here's your alias for this performance. You are a crazy old woman who realized that she's old and she's working a desk job. And then she basically leaves her desk job because she remembers this guy she met in France, like 10 years ago. And you go to France and you find him and you fall in love. That's essentially what it is, the story. And she did an amazing job performing it. Like she nailed all the parts. She was just like, the drama she had in it, like it was perfect. It was really cool.
Oh, that sounds fun. So now, just for us non-French speakers, what is the name of that again? Really slow. And then what does it mean in English?
It's Tout ce qu'il faut, which basically means like everything you need. And it's kind of like an irony / like a play on words, because she has everything she needs, but as you see in the picture, you're hollow on the inside, so you don't actually have everything you need. It's kind of like a superficial, I have everything I need, I have a job, I have money, but she was missing love.
I was wondering what that hole was. I'm like, okay, I know that has a meaning. So yeah, that was my next question to ask you. So
okay, yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So, and that one is available for purchase as well, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, if you feel like acting like a crazy lady,
Crazy lady, okay.
that's and you can sing soprano, that's definitely the song for you to try out.
Okay. Well, actually, it's been a great interview with you, but I do, before we end, I do want to put your website up here again for everybody. And ladies and gentlemen, what we covered tonight is doesn't even scratch the surface of what Ashley has done. You've got to check her website. Here it again is www.weckesser.com, AWECKESSER.com. And just a reminder for everybody, Ashley, your work that we've displayed and all the ones that they do see, you can get that on iTunes and other places as well?
Yeah, all your streaming services.
Okay. And so, and it's under, and make sure it's under A. Weckesser, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. About how many compositions do you think you have on iTunes right now? Just a guesstimate.
I have several albums consisting of...
Albums? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have, I think 6 to 7 albums, and then...
Very good.
Thank you. And then 2 singles.
I know all your work, when you write work, you like all your work, but is there one particular work of yours that stands out in your mind that you personally really, really like? I know it's probably a hard decision. You've created so much, but can you pick one for us that you like, really, really like?
Oh, man.
That's a hard decision, I know.
Yeah. It's like telling me to choose which of my children is my favorite.
Who's your favorite parent? Who's your favorite grandparent,
Yeah. I think if I had to choose, the one that's nearest and dearest to my heart is the single called Mom's Packable Cannon.
What was it again? Mom's what now?
Mom's Packable Cannon.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's a cover of Packable Cannon in D, that classical song that everybody plays at their weddings.
Sure.
And so it's actually that song I wrote as a tribute to my mother. She passed away like 10 months ago, and she always talked about... That's okay. It's a tender song. It's she wanted to be buried to Packable Cannon, and I wouldn't have it because I found that song to be a little boring. So I decided to write her own melody and then
that's sweet. I like that.
Yeah, and so it's incorporated into the Packable Canon, and so it's a beautiful song. Yeah. We'll
definitely have to check that out along with your other works as well. So, Ashley, we appreciate you being here tonight. It's been very, very interesting. I have not had a professional composer, sound designer, visual artist, and collaborator all in one. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing your expertise with us, and I would love next time you have a workout. Please, we'd love to have you come back on the show and talk to us again and tell us about your current project and also your future ones.
I would love that. That would be awesome.
Okay, well, Ashley, we appreciate you being on the show tonight, and we wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
You too.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it all for tonight's episode of the Van Buren Variety. I know just when we really, really get interested, that hour just seems like it goes just like that. So, but don't worry, we will be back next week with another interesting guest, another interesting topic, I can promise you. And make sure, if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button for Van Buren Variety. 3 words there, Van Buren Variety, where I do a live show every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Central and 8 p.m. Eastern. And don't worry, if you can't catch the live show, I know we all get busy, you can always watch it later on YouTube. Just go to my channel, Van Buren Variety, click on that live tab, and then you can actually see all the 107 episodes that I've done so far. So if you see something you like, make sure you hit that like button. That builds my ego up a little bit. So that's all for me tonight. I appreciate you all being here tonight. Thank you for Ashley for spending her time with us. And good night, everybody.